Hey guys, and welcome back to Amanda in the Raw. Today I wanted to talk about something I was just thinking about yesterday. It's pretty unrelated to food. I guess it could be related to food depending on what you're going through. But I wanted to talk about change. Specifically, I wanted to share my opinion that I think that we are all a lot more comfortable with change than we think. When we look around us in the world, change is actually the most common thing we find. It is the most constant thing we find. Things that are permanent are actually some of the things that have given us the most to overcome in at least my life, and in the lives of those around me from what I have witnessed. Things like death. There is an immense permanence in death, and it makes us very uncomfortable. In a sense, in a sense, things like birth, because we realize that, okay, we have a long-term commitment here. Marriage can make us a little nervous because of the long-term commitment with that. And then even more so, things like buying a home or getting diagnosed with something that medical staff tells you is not going to go away, something like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. So whenever there is permanence or perceived really long-term commitment, I would argue that we actually get more uncomfortable around that, because there's always the risk of feeling stuck, right? And I know in my life, above and beyond everything else, death is what does that for me. The idea that I can truly never see someone again. And I know that there are different beliefs and different, religions and ways that we approach death. And I think that those are wonderful, and that's just not what this video is about. My goal is to sort of reflect back to you that maybe you're actually a lot more comfortable with change and impermanence than you think. We spend so much of our lives in a space that is relatively impermanent, right? I mean, our jobs can change, our financial status can change. I mean, the last 2 years have been an immense amount of change for most of us, and something that we never saw coming, or I mean, that part is possibly debatable with some of the scientific research that's out there. But yeah, overall, I think that most of us didn't see this coming. We didn't have any frame of reference of what it would be like. There's impermanence in relationships, especially impermanence when others are involved, because they could always actively choose to do different things, whether that's in the workplace or in a relationship. There are so many sources of change and impermanence in our lives. The seasons change. The foods that we have available to us, if we're eating seasonally, change. If we experience a different kind of diagnosis or some biomarker that we feel we need to adjust our habits or lifestyle or diet, all of that changes. The permanent stuff is way more rare. And I think that this is really important to think about, because I feel like change is one of the biggest dividing factors in our society right now. And it really bums me out, because both sides are both right and wrong at the same time. We have one side that looks at the way things are currently and sees change and gets scared, which is fair. And that side, I think, tends to imagine that things were a certain way. And often in our imagination, we think that things might be better than they actually were. And they have that picture. And then on the other side, someone looking at the same situation, but through a different lens, and we all have our own lens for this, Um, Same settings, same present circumstances, same types of change, sees that and imagines that things are going to be much better than in reality they might actually be as a result of that change. In both sides, there's a level of imagination happening because all that really is the present. And all that really is in the present is more change. It's that continuous. So the divide that we have in our society is crippling us in many ways, from just living better lives, being better humans, from being happier and more fulfilled, and experiencing actual growth as a species and actual progress as a species and as a society, and in how we treat our planet, because it is an entire planet that we share. There is a lot more to the universe, and we need to respect that. We should have a lot more unity happening. And for those of you that believe these kinds of things, manipulation is a lot easier when we're all divided. We really need to be looking for common ground. And I really like when I see videos or shows or anyone who is trying to assess that and trying to find ways to meet on common ground, even when we don't all have the same beliefs. And we have a right to have different beliefs. We truly do. I have my beliefs. I know that they are similar to some of yours and drastically different to some of yours. And that's what it is. It doesn't mean we can't be friends, right? I'm also not here to try to push my beliefs on you, although I don't know why you would follow my channel if you don't want to hear my opinion from time to time. But that's what we're all here for, to try to find common ground. And I just think that in the present, this is a really important thing that we need to acknowledge on all sides. Because regardless of how we see something, we are using our imagination to project it from the past or the future. All that we have is the present, and the present is change. So in a weird way, I think change is, generally speaking, when we're thinking about it just with our mind, like mind knowledge instead of body knowledge, it sounds scary and it sounds stressful. It's something new. We have to get used to something new. Scientifically speaking, the way all our neurons work together have to create new pathways and new connections to learn that new thing, like when you learn to surf, or if you're a child and you're learning to ride a bike, or an adult learning to ride a bike, or if you're learning a new skill for work, or if you're learning to make videos. We have to learn something new, and the more that we do it, it does get easier. But that's, I think, part of why change is scary on the surface. But I really encourage you to revisit that opinion, because we handle change much better than we handle permanence. And change is much more common than permanence is. So just my 2 cents on that topic. I just felt like sharing that today. I felt a little inspired. I work in marketing as my full-time job, and I read a blog yesterday by someone named, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Seth Godin, or Godin maybe. He writes sort of in like the business and marketing realm, but a lot of his blogs are kind of these more philosophical, theoretical, kind of inspiring topics. And to be honest, I never actually read his blogs. I read his summary in his email, and that alone gives me enough information about what he wrote, at least for my own satisfaction. And he had something that came out this week that was somewhat about this topic. So I have to give him credit for it, because that's really what spurred me thinking about all of the impacts that really has, and how permanent change is, So anyways, I encourage you to embrace change today and to be your best self, whatever that looks like. And I hope you're having a great day. Bye.